Let's take a few callers on the Savage Nation. Let's go to Rochester, New York. Rick, welcome to the Savage Nation. Go ahead, please.
Hey, Mike, listen there, man. It's a pleasure to speak to you. I was just listening to you talk to a clown, and he couldn't put a smile on his face. He couldn't get his words out, only because he didn't have anything to back up what he was saying about reparations. I hear that all the time, man. I was registered Democrat until I had got sense and sensibility instilled in me. You know,
here's the thing about reparations. Who do you give them to? Do you give them to Oprah Winfrey, who's worth billions of dollars? I mean, what kind of nonsense is this? You give them to Al Sharpton? You give them to President Obama? Who gets the reparations? And who pays them, by the way? Those who came here in 1647 or those who came here in 1947? It's insanity to talk about reparations.
I take the black race, and I happen to be black. You know, and I'm quite sure there's a couple of other nationalities that I'm blended with. However, you know, there was in the Civil War, there's more white people that died for us, for our liberty and our freedom and ability to ride a bus, to read a book. What do we do today? We go to the library just to fight. We used to be, in Rosa Parks' days, they used to jump right in the front of the bus, and they said, well, you have to ride in the back of the bus. What do we do today? Ride in the back of the bus. First thing we do, and fight on the bus. They don't want to take time out to read. They don't know how to dress. And then reparations.
I don't want. Look, here's the thing. This is the thing to remember. Slavery was a great insult to all of humanity. Let's start with the basis, the basic reality. It was a great insult to humanity, a horrible uprooting of a people, and a blemish on humanity's soul. Let's start with the basics. But how many hundreds of thousands of white men died to make it simple, to free the slaves? Should those families who lost a breadwinner also be granted reparations? Should the families of the lone soldiers from the Union Army, the common foot soldier, should they somehow research their past and find out that when the boy who went to war or the man who went to war didn't come home, the family fell on hard times? Should they also receive reparations? This is utter nonsense. Let's take the Chinese. The Chinese were brought here as virtual indentured servants or slaves. We know that they built the railroads on the West Coast, and they built them in slave-like conditions. Do you ever hear Chinese people asking for reparations, Rick?
Nope. And you know, and they...
No, well, here's why don't the Chinese ask for reparations? They put it behind them. Their grandfather slaved and scrimped and saved. The next generation did better. The next generation did better. And the next generation did better. That's the American way. It's not belly aching and telling the other guy that you owe them a living, that they owe you a living, rather.
And I agree with you tenfold.
Well, I'm going to send you a copy of an immigrant story. It's called Train Tracks. That's me. I'm an immigrant son. It's the story. My grandfather's picture is on the back because he's the astronaut of the family. He never took a dime from anybody in his life. He worked hard and passed it on to his, passed nothing on. There was no inheritance to his son, my father, and there was no inheritance from my father to me, except the greatest inheritance. You know what the greatest inheritance was? A very tough upbringing where my father taught me that work is the only salvation. I'll be right back on the Savage Nation.
Call Michael right now at 855-400-SAVAGE. That's 855-400-7282.